Like most couples, you're probably wondering, when can we have sex again, or when do I have to have sex again? For my first baby, it was 8 months. For my second baby, it was 6 weeks. So how in the heck are we supposed to know when it's time? My name's Nicole. I'm a physical therapist and a mama myself, and because I get this question so often, I wanted to put together a video and answer those questions for you. Here are some of the things that you need to ask yourself when preparing to have postpartum sex. Number 1, have you stopped bleeding yet? So the lochia, or bleeding that occurs after we have babies, is a sign that our uterus is healing and recovering, and until that bleeding stops, our uterus is not completely healed. It's still open, it's still shedding, and so if you were to have intercourse before that's closed, you do have a higher risk of infection. And so that is why they tell you to wait until your bleeding has stopped before you go ahead and have intercourse. So if your bleeding has stopped, it's time to move on to question number 2. How are your incisions healing? If you had an episiotomy, perineal tearing that required stitches, if you had a cesarean delivery and you have stitches, what do those incisions look like? Are they oozing out and draining different pusses? Are there openings or gaps in your skin where it's supposed to be together? Now there's an opening. If you've had your 6-week appointment, did your provider look at that scar? Did they say it looks like it's healed? Did they say it looks like you need more time? Because everyone is a little bit different. I mean, it can be as short as 2 weeks before skin really comes together and heals well, but it can also be a lot longer depending on how many layers of skin and tissue and fat and muscle that were cut through during that incision or tearing. So you really want to make sure those scars are healed before you move forward with having intercourse. The third question that you want to ask yourself is, mentally, are you ready? There are a ton of things going on in a mom's brain, like, am I producing enough milk? Did I do all the laundry? Am I doing the right thing? Why is my baby crying? You know, how do I manage spending time with my toddler and my newborn? And then you're supposed to think about intercourse on top of all that. And as an added bonus, some of us even have to experience postpartum depression. And this really has nothing to do with you being damaged at all as a person. It has to do with fluctuating hormone levels, and it's something that you need to talk to your provider about. If you feel like it's hard for you to take care of yourself, it's hard for you to take care of your baby, you just want to sleep all the time, you're not eating, these are signs of postpartum depression. And if your family has brought up that it seems like maybe you're just not yourself, maybe you have postpartum depression, you need to have that addressed with a medical provider before you can move forward, because it really is a very serious barrier when it comes to healing postpartum. If you're just dealing with the normal stresses of trying to manage all the things, that is maybe not postpartum depression. That is something we need to communicate with our partner, say, hey, I need more help. Maybe you need to hire someone to come in and provide you more help. Maybe there are local organizations where volunteers can come and help you. And you need to find ways to manage all those stresses so that you can find a time where you mentally are in a space where sex actually sounds like a good idea to you. Another thing is trying to have sex when there aren't as many distractions or time constraints. So if you are thinking about intercourse, but you're gonna squeeze it in a nap, but you know that sometimes your baby only naps for 10 minutes, that stresses me out. Like the whole time I'm just thinking about, oh man, I better be quick, otherwise I'm gonna wake the baby up, or the baby's gonna wake up and interrupt us, and then, you know, just that whole cascade of thoughts when you're supposed to be thinking about intimacy and your partner and all that good stuff. So try to do it in a time where you're less stressed. Waiting till the end of the night, like just before bed, sometimes we're so exhausted that we just don't have the energy for it. And also communicating with your partner that, like, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about this, or I just don't know how this is gonna go, is important, so that they know that going in, you don't feel like you're disappointing them, and it's just clear expectations for everyone. This actually leads me to my fourth point, which is that know that you may not have full intercourse with thrusting, penetration, orgasm the very first time. There are lots of other things that you can do to reach orgasm without full penetrative sex, and that might be what's going to happen the first time, because sometimes it's just not going to go in all the way, it's too painful, you're too dry, and you need to get the answers to all those other questions before you can move forward and have full penetrative intercourse with orgasm. And that is where you might want to click the link to the video above or in the description below. And I created this video where I took all the most common questions I'm getting from clients and I just word vomited them all into one video. And as a bonus to that, I actually put in some impromptu questions that I asked my husband about postpartum sex from his perspective. I didn't give him time to rehearse the answers and I just like threw them at him. And I put his candid answers in there. So if you are wondering what your husband is thinking maybe, or just want a male perspective, check out that video because it's kind of fun and it also is jam-packed with lots of information that moms probably need to know as you are healing during the postpartum period. So once you have run through those questions, you've set expectations, you're ready to communicate with your partner, if your body and your mind are both saying, yep, I think we're ready, then go ahead and go for it. But just know that it might not be exactly how it was before and it might take time, but it could actually end up being better if you're willing to put the time and energy and effort into intercourse again. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you didn't already know this, I put out videos every single week. They're all related to pregnancy, how to manage labor and delivery, and postpartum recovery. And if you subscribe to my channel and you click the little bell to get notifications, you will know when I put out that new video so that you don't miss any of it. I love to share this information with moms because I know it has certainly changed my life personally, and I hope it can change your life as well.